Hi there, Lydia here. Now, one game I've been struggling to get out of my head since E3 is Crackdown 3. In an age where games are getting ever more complicated, there's something refreshing about visiting a city full of vile criminals and dishing out some extreme justice. To help scratch that itch, I've been replaying the original game, and it's got me thinking about all the ways Crackdown 3 improves on the classic formula. So here are 5 ways Crackdown 3 is the craziest Crackdown yet. The setting for the first 2 Crackdown games, Pacific City, has a special place in the heart of most 360 gamers. This was a place we grew to know intimately as we bounded over its rooftops in search of hidden orbs and took to the streets to wipe out the criminal scum. And who could forget the view from the top of the Agency Tower, the giant landmark that watched over the city below. Crackdown 3 does not return to the city for a 3rd time, but takes us to New Providence, a city run by the terrorist organization Terra Nova. These guys have been up to no good around the world, so the agency dispatched their best agents to take them down on their home turf. Interesting fact, New Providence is actually built on top of an active volcano, which seems like a bad idea to me. I mean, Terra Nova might be good at murdering innocent people, but they clearly didn't take GCSE geography. That's the first thing they teach you. Do not live on active volcanoes. What really excites us about the city, apart from all the lava underneath, is the size of the place. New Providence is over twice the size of Pacific City. That's twice as much space for developers to hide hidden orbs. That's twice as many criminals for you to wipe off the face of the earth. That's twice as much real estate to race around in time trials. Talking recently to the developers at Sumo Digital, they told us to expect thousands of agility orbs to find around the city. You're going to be hearing that iconic orb pickup sound in your sleep. And most importantly, the city is as tall as it is wide. Yes, there's another giant tower for you to climb. This one is 1.2 kilometers tall, which is twice the height of the original Agency Tower. Do you remember that wobbly tummy feeling as you carefully leapt up the outside of the original? Now imagine that sensation doubled. There better be an achievement waiting for us at the top. At the heart of the action is your agent, and while he or she controls much as you remember, there are a few tweaks that make life easier. The big change is to jumping, which is one of the most important parts of Crackdown. You see, the ability to clamber up to rooftops gives you the drop on enemies below. There's nothing as satisfying as falling from the air and spraying out rockets on unsuspecting goons below. Getting up onto roofs also helps you find agility orbs that gradually increase your leaping power over time. In our demo, we also found incredibly powerful weapons stashed on the rooftops, but more of them later. Jumping has been modified in a couple of ways. You can now double jump, which gives you a bit more finesse when you're getting around the city. If you're about to miss a jump, you can squeeze a few more meters out of it before you fall, and that second hop is also good for mid-air adjustments, such as when you spot an agility orb out of the corner of your eye and decide you want to go for it. It's a move that fits the characters so well, you'd swear that it's been there since the beginning, but if you go back to the original game and try it, you'll see that it's brand spanking new. One move that definitely wasn't in the original is the aerial dash, a short burst of speed that can both boost a jump that is falling short and can help dodge a sudden burst of incoming lead. It actually reminds us of how your character moves in Sunset Overdrive, another game about causing chaos in a giant open world city. When you begin to stitch together double jumps and dashes, you'll be able to weave your agent around combat better than before. It makes for an experience that looks like classic Crackdown, but feels that tiny bit more responsive under your thumbs. Let's talk about gangs. If you cleaned up the messy streets of Pacific City in the original Crackdown, you'll remember each of its islands were controlled by one of 3 gangs. But beyond the names, gang outfits, and some comedy accents, there wasn't much to differentiate the different tribes. Visit New Providence, however, and the gangs have their act together. Different groups serve different roles in the city, and as a result have a distinct presence when you meet and fight them. You might encounter these red soldiers who are called enforcers and act as the police for the city. These are your common grunts, carrying machine guns and often found manning the security checkpoints and holding cells dotted around the city. Take a trip to the monorail station instead and you'll find it under the control of Roxy, an artificial intelligence that directs the city's transport networks. Think of her as Terminator's Skynet meets a lovely lollipop lady. Alas, she's not keen on handing over control of the city's vehicles to the agency and can use 3D printers to generate an endless supply of robots, or raise up gun turrets to pepper you with hot laser death. While while infinite robots would be a pain in the ass, you can shut this part of Roxy's operation down by taking out the local captain. Kill this robot called Babbage and you'll take control of his station. Take command of the monorail and eventually the agency can add a special gun turret train that follows you around on the rails above, laying down covering fire. It's all part of taking the city back piece by piece, and it feels like a big step up from the earlier games. If the gang designs are smarter, then the gang members themselves are smarter too. In the original Crackdown, the generals who led the army each hid in an area of the map. You just had to find them and take them down with extreme prejudice. In Crackdown 3, the process of sniffing out the leaders is much more interesting. Each leader has something in the world that means something to them. It's your job to find out what it is and blow it to hell. In the area we explored, for example, you'll find a chemical plant that belongs to Jimon Kita. Read his in-game dossier and you'll find out the way to his heart is through his precious chemical valves. Find these structures and dive bomb them and you'll eventually earn his anger and draw him out. Elsewhere, attacking larger enforcer bases begins to wind up their leader, Liv Sorensen, causing her to seek revenge. Ah yes, revenge, a dish best served cold, and on Xbox. Enemies won't just sit back and let you demolish their operations. In a system called Gangs Bite Back, drawing the attention of a general causes them to come after you in the game world. This might mean they send in dropships full of superpowered soldiers or roll in squadrons of tanks. What's more, these attacks are totally dynamic, so can come at any moment in any location. You might be having a boss fight with one general, only for another general to retaliate at the same time. Even more reason to bring them down as fast as possible. What's great about this system is that no two games are ever alike. Each of us will have different gangs at different levels of anger, triggering different attacks in different locations. In theory, you could upset every leader in the city and have them all in a state of retaliation at once, though you'd have to be pretty brave to do so. Of course, all Crackdown 3's ideas are for nothing if you don't have an arsenal of weapons worth unleashing on the criminal population. And it does not disappoint. As well as your machine guns and shotguns, agents can dig into a more explosive arsenal. Take for example the micro missile rifle, or to flip that name on its head, a rifle that fires micro missiles. Ever wondered what a machine gun would look like if every bullet hit with the force of a truck? Squeeze the trigger on this beauty and find out. As the shots begin to fly, the screen lights up with tens of micro explosions. It's like a fireworks display at ground level. You won't know whether to say ooh or ah. And the way leveling works in Crackdown means every explosive kill helps level up your explosive skill. And every time that skill goes up, the impact of the weapon gets even stronger. But even that has nothing on the Singularity gun, which basically fires mini black holes. Launch one of these physics-defying shots and it will rip a hole in reality and pull in every enemy, vehicle, or prop unlucky to be near it. And once all these things have been sucked into a giant cocktail of arms, legs, and car bonnets, the whole lot of it explodes. Professor Stephen Hawking would likely question the science of it, but even he would admit it's pretty freaking cool. And again, the higher the explosive ranking, the bigger the singularity. Hey, that's one way to deal with rush hour traffic. And if you run out of ammo, let me remind you that your fists land with the impact of an atom bomb. You're so overpowered in Crackdown 3, you almost feel bad for the baddies. Almost. And those are our top 5 reasons why this is the craziest Crackdown yet. We focused on the story portion of the game in this video, but there's still the multiplayer mode to wait and see, which promises epic combat in a fully destructible city. We can't wait to see more of this soon. For now though, we're very happy to jump over buildings in a single leap and fire guns that can melt an army in a single shot. Let us know in the comments below what you're most looking forward to in Crackdown, and please do subscribe to the channel for loads more access to the biggest Xbox games of the year. I'll see you soon. Bye!